How's it going, everyone? This is Paul Garcia of analyzingtheleague.com. This is going to be a video explaining how to use the Restart Guides shot location database. So again, if you've clicked on this link, kind of just go overview of what's inside the database and then how to analyze and use some of this information that's in there. All right, so it's broken down into two tabs. It's on offense and defense. So again, offense first, and then defense. And then I'm going to just do a quick little overview of what's explained in the written words below on the article about the just kind of what everything means. So first left to right, we start off with offensive rank. This is basically where everybody was in their offensive rank according to their offensive rating at the pause of the season from NBA.com's numbers. So even though there's 30 teams in the league, we're only using the 22 teams that were there. That are participating in the restart in Orlando. And so somebody like the Magic we see here, they're 24th in offense, but even though there's only 22 teams participating, that's because with all 30 teams, these numbers are taken to that effect. They were 24th. Next is the team, like it's pretty self-explanatory there. Next is the restricted area field goal attempts, so RAFGA. This just means restricted area. This is the area that's closest to the basket. And again, this is your team, your amount of field goal attempts there. The next is RA frequency. So this is what percentage of your shots come from the restricted area. Okay, so it tells you all the teams there. And I'll explain what the colors mean in a little bit. NRA field goal attempts just means non-restricted area. This is the area that's considered like the floater range. So it's inside the paint, but it's outside of the charge circle and up to the free throw line. Non-restricted area frequency. Then MRFGA just means mid-range field goal attempts. So these are shots you take from the mid-range. And then again, it's broken down to your frequency. So what percentage of your shots come from mid-range? 3-point field goal attempts. So again, 3-point field goal attempts, 3-point frequency, and then total field goal attempts. And then lastly, it's a free throw rate. Then so that was all the areas in the blue here. Now, as we looked at the areas in the gold, what I'm looking at is each team's, field goal percentage from those specific areas, and then I'm turning those numbers into points per shot. So like RAFG percentage means restricted area field goal percentage. So it shows you how the team shot from there. And then we look at RA PPS, which means points per shot. So the goal here is to get over 1 point per shot on all your shots. And so, pretty much at the rim, everyone's going to shoot well from there. Whereas two harder shots, which are considered low value shots, are the non-restricted area shot, that floater, and also the mid-range. Those are tough shots to make. So those shots are not good shots. So most teams, no teams really do get over a point per shot from those areas. So I have them, you can see the numbers for each team. The 3-point shot is a very high value shot. So all teams do get over a point per shot from there. So again, you see the numbers there converted into points per shot. So that's pretty much what all the above what all the the top of the chart means for top of the table, should I say, for each of those words and abbreviations. The same thing's basically applied on defense. So if you click on the defensive tab, everything's pretty much the same up top. The only difference you'll see here is that the defensive rank moves the teams. And why? Because again, it's applied to their defensive rank at the pause of the season. So their defensive rating. So like the Bucks are number 1 in defense, and then somebody like the Wizards, they were number 30. And so again, it's only the 22 teams that are participating in the restart. They're applied here. So now let's get into how to actually analyze and use this data. So let's just take one team here and kind of go through the numbers. So I'll pick the Mavs. Okay, so let's start off with Dallas here. So we know that we see that on offense they were number 1 at the pause of the season. We look at what percentage of their shots came from the rim, 27%. Now you might ask, okay, well, why are they in red or pinkish color? That means that compared to the other 22 teams participating, they didn't take a huge chunk of their shots from the rim compared to other teams. So the goal here is to be more in the green. So somebody like the Lakers, the Raptors, the Nets, they took a lot of their shots close to the rim. And so again, the more red or pinkish you are, that means that you're not, compared to those other teams, you're not shooting as many of your shots at the rim. If you're in the white, like the Clippers here or the Nuggets, 32% of their shots come from those areas. That's about league average compared to the other teams. So that's about average. So again, you want to be close to the green in this chart. Now let's go to the non-restricted area. Okay, so now in the non-restricted area, Dallas is closer to like the white or the green color. Okay, and and that's more like, they're about average basically in terms of percentage of the shots that come from the non-restricted area. You don't want to take a lot of your shots from here. You want to have a low number here. So somebody like the Rockets, only 11% of their shots. Somebody like the Raptors, 12% of shots, right? The Pelicans, 13%. So the goal is to be in the green, which means that you don't take a lot of shots from here, because why? This is a very low value shot. You don't get a lot of, it's not very valuable for you when you take it. Again, white means more like you're like league average in terms of that shot attempt. And red or pinkish means that you take way too many of your shots come from that area. So something like the Grizzlies, it's a little concerning. Something like the Thunder, et cetera, the Jazz. Okay, so that's how you use that part, that area of frequency. Now, next we'll go to the mid range, and again, it's a very low value shot, we know, so you don't want your team taking that. So Dallas does a good job here. They're more in the green, so only 11% of their shots come from here. That's a good thing, because that's a very low value shot. Somebody like the Spurs, it's not a good job to be taking so many mid range. Somebody like the Pacers as well, et cetera. You can follow the line down. So again, if you're green, it means that you don't take a lot of shots from here. If you're red or pink, it means that you do. And then of course, if you're in the white, like the Heat here, it means you're about average compared to all these teams and taking your shot from there. The last shot is a very high value shot, which is a 3-pointer, like we mentioned. So here, again, you want to be in green. So Dallas does a great job. 46% of their shots come from three, and you can see who all the teams are that are in green. If you're in white, again, you're about average compared to all these teams. So like the Clippers and the Blazers are only 37% of their shots come from here. If you're more in pink or red, it means that you don't shoot a lot of threes, and that means that you're not taking a very high value shot. So somebody like the Spurs, somebody like the Pacers here don't really take a lot of, compared to when you look at all their shots, that theirs is one of the lower numbers in terms of percentage of shots that come from three. Okay, and then looking at free throw rate, we see Dallas is more of like a in terms of free throw rate, they're about average team. So again, green means that you're one of the top teams in free throw rate. Red or pink means that you don't get to the line enough, and then white means, again, you're more like average compared to these other teams. So now let's go to the points per shot, and this is just pretty much the same for all four areas in terms of just how well you shoot, how accurate you are. So we can see that Dallas, even though they don't get to the rim a lot, when they do shoot from the rim, they're very accurate. 1.36 points per shot is one of the higher numbers. You want to be in the green. So just like the Lakers, get a lot of. They're one of the best scoring teams at near the rim. Again, the non-restricted area, no one's going to get over a point per shot from here because it's a hard shot to make. But again, somebody like Dallas, they struggle to make this shot because it's a low value shot. So they do struggle to make it. Most teams do. You're going to see more red and pinkish here. And then some teams are on the green. So somebody like who really stands out here is the Pacers. They actually make a lot of those shots. It's a hard shot to make, and the Grizzlies as well. As we can see there. Same thing for the mid-range. It's a low-value shot. You don't want to be taking it. So Dallas is about average in terms of making that shot. And then again, red is more like you don't score well on that shot. Green means that you do pretty well. So somebody who really stands out here is the Pelicans. Is that the Pelicans? The Thunder actually make a good chunk of that shot. And then also the Bucks here. Even though the Bucks don't care to take it as much, that shot, they actually score well from it whenever they do take mid-rangers. So again, that's how to look at those numbers. And then lastly, the 3-pointers, the same thing is, green means that you're, compared to these other 22 teams, you're one of the better scoring teams from three in terms of accuracy. And then red and pink means that you don't shoot the ball well from three from compared to these other teams. And then white, of course, means you're about average. So again, we can see, Dallas, 46% of their shots come from three, and then they actually make it pretty well. They're getting 1.1 points per shot. So again, this is how you use the offense page, and you can kind of look at one thing I guess you could see is like who are the model, like if you're a stats person, who's the model you want to build your team after. It's pretty much like the Rockets. You want to take a lot of, they're in the green pretty much across all four areas in terms of where their shots come from. So as we can see here, because why? I mean, they value taking shots at the rim. They value taking a lot of shots from three and also getting to the free throw line, but they do not value the mid-range or the non-restricted area. They don't want you shooting all those shots because they already know those are bad. Those are low value shots. So somebody like the Rockets stands out there. And then you can see the difference in terms of teams that how they're more fit to their personnel. So somebody like the Lakers, who are a top 5 offense as well, they're a little bit different, where they value more the inside scoring. Of course, we think about LeBron James, Anthony Davis, a lot of their players there, getting shots close to the rim, getting to the free throw line pretty well, but then they don't take as many 3-pointers as most teams. Okay, so again, that's kind of how everything works out. Again, you don't want to be in the red across different areas, because then that means that you're not taking good shots compared to other teams, these other 22 teams. So now let's go to the defense. Some parts are the same in terms of the analysis. Some of it does change a little bit. So let's start off with the let me start with the random team, the Thunder here. Okay, 9th. Okay, in defense. Let's focus in on them. Okay, so what do we notice about OKC on defense? Okay, we learned that. Hold on, I missed that here. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, we learned that 31% of their opponent shots come from three. So that's about average. So in terms of limiting teams from getting to the rim, it's average. If your number is lower here, it's going to be in the green. So somebody like the Bucks really makes an emphasis not to let people shoot in the rim, near the rim, and then somebody if your team lets a lot of teams get to the rim and take a lot of the shot attempts, they're going to be more in the red or the pinkish areas. So somebody like the Pelicans, that's an area of concern for them. The non-restricted area means that you want to force teams to shoot a lot of their shots from here because, again, it's a low-value shot. So somebody like the Thunder we're talking about, their 18% of their opponent shots come from here. That means they make them take a lot of the shots from there. So that's a good thing because it's a low-value shot. And then other teams that are in the red or the pink means that those teams aren't shooting enough from that area. And then, of course, white means more like average. Going to the mid-range, it's very similar to the non-restricted area where 14% of Thunder shots, opponent shots are coming from the mid-range, and that's close to the green, so that's a good thing. You want a higher number there for them. 14, yeah. And then, red means that you don't force your opponent to take a lot of mid-range shots again. So that's not a good thing. So again, you want to have them closer to the white or the green in this number. Frequency. And then, of course, three is the last part. And as we can see here for OKC, 37% of their opponents' shots come from three. That's a good, that's a lower number. The lower number you have here, it's going to be more green. If you're higher, it's going to be more in the red or the pink. It means that your opponent's taking a lot of shots from three, which typically you don't want that to happen. But somebody like the Bucks, they do a really good job. Even though their opponents do take a lot of shots from three. So basically, and then of course, white is more of the average. So as we can see, those are first the frequency. Next, the free throw rate is basically, the lower this number is, the more green it's going to be. It's a good thing. You're not putting people on the teams on the free throw line. If it's more white, you're about average compared to these other 222 teams. And if you're in red or pink, it means that you're putting way too many opponents on the free throw line on defense. In terms of the points per shot, it's pretty much the same. It's not really going to change in terms of just how well do you guard the shot. So when they actually take the shot and how well do they convert it. So we can see that Thunder about average 1.25 points per shot because it's in white. If it's green, it means that you're making a lower shot. If it's in red, it means that they're making a lot of those shots. Go over to the non-restricted area. Teams shoot pretty good against Thunder from the non-restricted areas. So they're making 0.84, and that's more in the pinkish, reddish category. So again, that's a little concerning, but you want to be more in the green, which means that your opponent's not scoring that well from there. Same thing with the mid-range. They're scoring, they're allowing 0.84 points per shot. So again, they're shooting pretty well whenever they do take mid-range shots against Thunder compared to these other 22 teams. You want to be more closer to the green or wide area. And then same thing for three. The lower your number, the better, the more green you are, the higher your number that teams shoot against you. It's going to be more red or pinkish. So as we can see, the Thunder are really good about, for one, they do limit threes. Only 37% of their opponent shots come from three, but then also when teams take shots from three, they're not making them at a good rate. Only 1.03 points per shot come from our teams are shooting against Thunder. So the Thunder are a good team of guarding the three and not letting teams score a lot well from those shots. So I know that's a lot of information. Again, just take time, kind of look at the numbers for the teams, and you'll kind of start noticing some patterns again in terms of the philosophy of how teams play basketball. So like I mentioned, offense, look at the Rockets who you can just basically see that the numbers show they value only high value shots on offense. And then you look at the defense, you can see that some defenses, even if they're top 10, they have different approaches in terms of what they do. So somebody like the Bucks, who's the best defense in the league, we noticed that they're taking away your shots near the rim. They're taking away your shots. They force you to take a lot of shots in the non-restricted area. They force you to take a lot of shots in the mid-range. But then there's a little bit different because they do allow you to take more threes, but they keep you off the free throw line. And then, so again, it's a different philosophy from some other teams that are different. So again, your goal is to be closer to the green in all four areas. So let's like something like the Jazz where they have like 4 different areas that they're in green. Now I know they're 11th, but why? Because teams are still shooting pretty well against them. Like here, the teams, even though teams don't shoot a lot against the Jazz near the rim, when they do get there, they score pretty well. That's anything for the non-restricted area, the mid-range, and the 3 point line. So again, that's just kind of how to use some of this data. And again, it really helps you in terms of when you see the numbers when they're spelled out on the page. When you click on team guides, it looks like it'll say Mavs 27% of shots from restricted area. That doesn't mean a lot, but then when you actually click on this page and actually see, oh, here's why Dallas is number one, and here's how they play and where they decide to shoot from. I think it's a little bit more valuable for you. So hopefully this helps out in terms of understanding this database. So for Analyzing the League, I'm Paul Garcia.